Hi guys, and welcome to the latest MSC Performance podcast. Today I'm very excited to be joined by MSC Coach Ben Franks. Welcome, Ben.
Hello, thanks for having me.
No worries, excellent. Really looking forward to today's podcast. So for those of you who don't know Ben, he'll introduce himself in a little bit more detail in a minute. But Ben's one of our top coaches at MSC. Runs a lot of our Metcon sessions and is very well known for the charity work that he does for MSC, having over the last year raised thousands of pounds for various different organisations. So Ben, this previous weekend just gone, has just completed a bike challenge, assault bike challenge. So he's going to talk us through that ultra endurance challenge. Over the last year or so, he's done numerous events for charity for MSC. So Ben's going to talk us through the idea behind those and why, the reasons for doing it, and the causes that he's helping out. We'll also talk about mental health and positivity as well, which anyone who's been around Ben, you get this real infectious vibe from him, in terms, it just really raises your game in terms of how, consistently motivated he is and what a positive person, he is. And I myself am really excited to talk to Ben today and find out a little bit more. He's going to give us a few tips. So Ben, for the, everyone at MSC obviously knows who you are, but for those who are listening that maybe don't, do you want to just give us just a little background about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So been working at MSC now since last January, so just over a year and a half. Just finishing second year at University College Birmingham, studying strength conditioning and sports nutrition. Before that, I was in the military. I was in the Royal Corps of Signals, and then that's it. That's most.
Ben's a very humble guy, so when it comes to talking about himself, it'll be quite brief. Thanks, Ben. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's get amongst it. So obviously, the most recent event that you did was last weekend to raise money for charity. Do you want to go into a little bit more depth on what we did? And
so obviously a year ago, we did the 24-hour challenge as a group and took place at the gym. And then obviously with the circumstances as they are now, we thought we wanted to, do it again this year, but however we could. So we borrowed the assault bike from you a few months ago, and we were just brainstorming ideas. And I just thought, let's do 24 hours on the assault bike. And for anyone who knows the assault bike, like 24 seconds is long enough. So yeah, we worked out how we do it, logistically, with being able to eat and share the time, and essentially every act change up the work ratio. So it'd be 1 minute on, 1 minute off between the two of us, or we go 2 minutes, or we break for when we wanted to eat, we'd do like 10 minutes on, and then the other person would do 10 minutes. We just rolled through the day. Started at 8, finished at 8. It was pretty grim, not gonna lie. But yeah, we did it and raised some money. So yeah, it's all good.
That assault bike's going to need a service when it comes back in, mate. That's for sure.
The WD-40 is waiting and ready.
Absolutely. No, great stuff, mate. Great stuff.
We were worried about the chain like snapping like within the first hour. But,
it survived.
Yeah, luckily it held out on us.
Good. I'm glad you guys held out as well. 24 hours. 24 hours on an assault bike, for those who know a little bit about the assault bike will know how tough that is, and the mental side and the mental strength to keep going for 24 hours straight. I'm looking forward to a little chat later about how you find the mental strength to do something like that. You touched upon the challenge we did last year, which was very similar. 24 hours in the gym at MSC. It was a 24-hour workout. with various different exercises. And I can speak from experience, having taken part in that. I missed the first 4 or 5 hours because of work, but having done 19, 20 hours is one of the hardest things I've ever done. Just, staying awake as much, was as hard as anything. So 24 hours on an assault bike, guys, is, with one other person, with Namer helping you, is between two of you. That's pretty special, to be fair. So what was the so you raised money, and I believe the link's still live.
The Just Giving page still live.
Yeah. So it's through Just Giving. We'll do a little pitch at the end for that. But in terms of the charity, it was for Birmingham Mind. Do you want to just explain?
So last year for Birmingham Mind, who are the mental health charity, and the money goes towards providing services for people who just might not have anyone to talk to, and it can be that outlet. Could be the different life and death, extreme situations. So I feel like it's a really worthy cause, and that's why we chose it last year and this year again.
Fantastic, mate. Yeah, great stuff. Just like it's a great charity, and I think over the last few years, the awareness of mental health is growing, and rightly so. You've only got to look at the statistics to realise how it's very sad how many deaths there are, and how many people suffer through mental health issues. It's a fantastic cause, mate, and I'm really pleased. Ben really, the charity stuff at MSC, something we've always wanted to do, and since Ben's come on board, that's really enabled us to to put that chat into action, really. And Ben's been leading all of that work, and as I say, raised thousands of pounds. So it's great stuff, mate. Again, we've sort of mentioned the 24-hour challenge there. What other sort of that a bit more detail on that, and what other challenges have you done in the last say year or so?
So we did when the Australian bushfires were taking place, we did that challenges of the gym as a whole, didn't we? We wanted to do a row from Sydney to Melbourne,
which was further than I thought.
How many meters was that again?
It was, I believe,
like 800,000.
It was around, it was around 800 kilometers.
Yeah, but then we actually upped it to 1 million, didn't we?
We overdid it. So we went, a slight miscalculation.
That was great. They were like,
we did 1,000 kilometers in the end. So which
that was it.
I believe is 1 million meters, which was quite a nice round number to finish.
Yeah, but that was really good. I think pretty much everyone in the gym inputted, at least a comment, didn't they?
Yeah.
So,
even the powerlifters.
Really good to see. Even the powerlifters, yeah.
Shocked.
We had to explain what a row was to them, and then but that was really good to see.
Getting the little 1K and 2K warm ups in there, but it certainly added up.
And it was only in the space of a week as well, which was the power of I think the community down there.
Yeah.
Like, if it's together, what you can do in a week is just crazy, really.
Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, as you said, like the strength of the community. Probably nothing's brought our sort of community together more than that. Everybody's chipping in, and shows the kind of people we've got down at MSC, really.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I mean, it wasn't fun at times, but it was a great achievement. So we did that, didn't we?
Did the three? Well, we attempted the peak before that, but we had to call it off after 2 due to the weather conditions. And then myself, Max, Josh, and the members Robin, Francesco will be the man versus runs this year, but again they've been cancelled, so that's going to be pushed to next year. And then I think where it all started was the 24-hour this time last year.
We kicked it off with a nice easy one, didn't we?
Yeah, ease ourselves into it. But I hope we keep that up as like a bit of a annual tradition.
Yeah, absolutely,
Which would be,
absolutely.
would be really good.
Yeah, I think it's the great things. The great thing about all those challenges is that it's been coaches and members together.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like, right, okay, three of the coaches are going off and doing X, Y, or Z. It's it's the members getting involved as well. And just showing that it's all also one big squad, isn't it? So that's all in the space of a year. Everything that Ben and the squad have done there, guys, and we're planning on doing a heck of a lot more in the future. I think one of the reasons you open a community based gym is to build a community, and when you're lucky enough to have a community and have X amount of members, it does enable you to do things like this, and to might sound a little bit cheesy, but to make a difference. And that money we're raising, it's not millions of pounds, but it all adds to the pot, and it's just that small sacrifice from ourselves. Putting the link out there, people chipping in and throwing a few quid in, just all adds up, and makes a massive difference. Really exciting, for what it makes you realise what's possible.
Yeah, if it just goes to that one person, it's worth it. Even if it just raises awareness, it's all worth it, because it just shows that people are sacrificing time. Do you know what I mean? Because that's one thing you can't buy. That's one thing that's very precious to everyone. But if people see that other people are willing to sacrifice their time to do crazy events and stuff, it shows that people do care. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
100%. I think it's really important.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more. Great stuff. So, yeah, in terms of those, have you got any sort of challenges in mind for the future? Or
so we've been.
I'm not surprised you're already thinking about it.
There's one we want to do. So it's the 4x4 in 48. I always talk about him, David Goggins. He does this challenge where you run 1 mile 4 hours for 48 hours straight. So you do essentially 2 marathons in 2 days. Yeah. So I think we're into doing that. The lads who meant to versus challenges, obviously just sorting out the logistics of how we can do it with the government guidelines and stuff. But
yeah,
I'm sure good. But yeah, apart from as soon as we got off the bike, Naomi said that's the last one for a while. So
she's having a well-deserved break.
A week, yeah, give it a week, and we'll have another one in the pipeline.
Good man.
But,
good man.
Yeah.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic. Yeah. Good stuff. So just going back into obviously a lot of the work we've done. We have done we've raised money for the Australia bushfires and and other things as well. But the mental health obviously aspect is something that's that you've been keen to been keen as a squad, but you especially have looked to push and working with Mind. Why is mental health a sort of important subject? Do you think?
Because like you could see a person coming to the gym happy as Larry, but you don't actually know if they've got any issues. So I think raising money for those to provide those sort of services where people who
it's
sorry,
not.
I might have to edit this, but
no, not at all. Well, no, I think where you sort of go with that.
It's not like you can't really see, can't really diagnose it. Just looking at it, you don't know. You don't know if people are in silence. You don't know if people, if they're just putting on a brave face. And I think it's really important to have those services where people can go and not have to put on that brave face and can just talk about, what's going on in their head. Yeah, like I said before, it could be that outlet that just gets them talking. And again, in the extreme circumstances, could be the difference between life and death.
Yeah,
because you never know who's suffering.
Yeah,
I think important is to be, physically strong at the gym, but if you're not mentally strong, then that could, cause the most harm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's really interesting. I think what I've learned a lot, in the last few years, having become more aware about it, is people can, people who have got mental health issues can easily put on a bit of a front,
and
a bit of a brave face. And you read about, we only tend to read about obviously famous people, but you see the tragic deaths, and you sort of think, they look so happy. It looks like they've got everything. They've got all the money. They've got all the fame. They've got everything. But sometimes you don't see what's going on, underneath all of that. And I think it's really interesting. So good stuff, mate. Good stuff. In terms of yourself, then, what anyone who knows you knows that you're up early. You're up early every day. You're positive. You're motivated. You're up for any sort of challenge. A very driven person. Is that something that you think comes naturally to people? Do you think that that's something you can almost train within yourself? Have you got any tips?
I think you can definitely employ like habits that eventually become just routine. So like all the way through secondary school, I was lazy as. Can we swear on this podcast? Are we all right?
Yeah, we can swear. Yeah, we can swear.
Yeah, I was lazy as shit. I didn't enjoy exercise, didn't do anything. And then I think it's sort of like towards the end of A levels, I just sort of like had this realization that, you can't, there's only so many books you can read and YouTube videos you can watch about getting in shape and stuff. You've got to just go and do it. Like stop thinking about stuff, just go and do it. So I remember going for my first run. Fucking hell, I got like half a mile in. It was just like feeling just like nearly thrown up. It wasn't good.
That's been pre-season, mate. Fuck.
But I didn't really know what I was doing, in terms of the best way to get in shape, whatever. I just thought, just go for it, just try and do anything. So I probably could have got in shape a lot quicker, but I think going through that of just keep going every day, trying sort of improve mental strength as well. So yeah, I think you can definitely, like I say, implement different habits throughout your day in order to make them just routine. But yeah, I think the way I see it, like I always think of how good I'm going to feel after something tough.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you just always think about the end point and how if you quit, you'll feel twice as bad than if you don't. So I just always try to visualize that and yeah, you just got to go and do it. Just stop thinking about stuff. Yeah, action. Stop thinking about stuff. Stop reading about how to do it. Just go and do it.
Yeah, I think.
And if you're not sure on how to do it, ask someone and they can help you. But you've got to do the physical stuff. You've got to.
I think that's a really good point, mate. Is the action side of it. And that's something that at times I've perhaps not had from a business perspective as well. Is ideas, thinking, all those kind of things, and before you know it, a week's passed, a month's passed, and it's the same old story. And it certainly relates heavily to to exercise and health, doesn't it? I think something I read a while ago. I think it was from Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits book. Was talking about, and I'm specifically linking this to exercise now, but he's talking about kind of things that are important and things that are essential. Mm-hmm. So I think pretty much everybody knows that exercise is important. Pretty much everyone knows it now that it's good for you. We're good. We're into all the details, but it's not. If you miss a workout, if you miss a workout today, for example, let's say you were planning to go for a run today, and in the end you thought, sod it, what difference is it going to make not going for a run today, and just having a beer, or opening a tub of Ben and Jerry's, which is fine, by the way. I've had a nice tub last night, but it's the reality is that missing that one session, nothing on the surface, nothing bad's going to happen. You're not going to die instantly and things like that. Now the issue is people wait until it's essential. So they wait until it's too late, until they've got their health, they're reactive rather than proactive, and they're in trouble. They've got health issues, or they're suddenly like, crikey, I'm massively overweight, or I've got this issue or that issue. I've got an injury. I'm in hospital, or whatever it is.
It's now 100 times harder.
Exactly, and I think it's so important to come, away from that, thinking of it as, waiting until it's essential. Realizing, it's important, and we need to move every day, or pretty much every day. And then within that is getting into, it's the discipline to do that, isn't it? Not waiting for that end range, and it's consistency, and as you said, changing habits.
Yeah, exactly.
And those can start off small, can't they? I know you're, whether it's waking up early, or getting down the gym twice a week to begin with, or whatever. It's very much those habits, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I went through. So when I first got to Birmingham last September, I was doing this thing where I was right, I'm going to get into a habit around everything I'm going to do the next day, like a list of literally everything, like including like every bit of food, every drink, like like brushing my teeth, just to create this like list, like accountability list sort of thing. But then I, after like a few months of that, I noticed that I was still doing the stuff, just like the basic stuff, without having to write it down. So it just become an ingrained habit.
Yeah.
And eventually that list got smaller and smaller because I was just doing them without thinking.
Yeah, awesome.
And then eventually I didn't have to write a list. I just knew, right, I'm getting up. It's already ingrained in what I've got to do. And then just cracked on.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
It takes like 30 days for a habit to become routine or something like that. So yeah, something like that. But that's one thing I'd use. It might not work for everyone, but yeah, it's just essential just to get good habits ingrained into routine. But again, it starts with, you can't just make that list. You got to do it. You got to do it as well.
Yeah, exactly. You got to bite. If on that list you've got, to go out for a 1K run or get down the gym. You've not been to gym for 6 months, and it's right. You've got to get down the gym. Obviously, when gyms are open again.
When we're allowed.
Yeah, when we're allowed. As you say, you've got to bite the bullet. And any motivational work I've ever read is very much comes down to that. It's action. It's action, isn't it? You've got to. Nobody, not you, not I, not any sort of book you read, can make you take that first step.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
why I love. I know I hammer on about him, but like David Goggins' book is just unbelievable. He's not bullshitting you. He's done that. He's put himself through shit basically, and he you know, that's his main thing, is that you've just got to do the work, just got to put in the time, and the rewards will come. Like,
No magic pill, is there?
No, exactly. Consistency beats intensity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't
Certainly
just go hard for a week and then if you don't see results, that's why you've got to build up those habits to become routine, and then you'll see results.
From an athlete's point of view as well. You'll see that with a lot of the great athletes. That's a really interesting term, consistency over intensity. I think that's really good. That's really important, because you'll see, as I say, the top athletes, they're regular. They're regularly in the gym. They're not going in, finding a motivation for a day, destroying themselves, and then not going back in and and losing that. It's not a habit. You look at some of the top lifters at MSC, from a powerlifting perspective, for example, like, the sessions aren't always the most intense, but the best ones don't, they don't miss the session. They're consistent. They're consistent. It's habits. They've perfected a certain movement pattern because they do it over and over and over again. It's habit. You see it with top Olympic lifters. It's ingraining those those skills and the habit of doing it consistently, as you say.
Yeah, exactly. It's not always, it's not about being consistent with exercise either. It's just being consistent with waking up and how are you going to make the most of that day? What are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? It's not all about, exercise is important, but just how are you going to consistently have motivation? Because, like, motivation can come in and out. Like, I have shit days where you wake up, fuck this, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah,
I have them as well.
Yeah, almost had one this morning, mate. But I remembered we were doing a podcast. So.
But, like, how are you gonna have that consistent motivation? Do you know what I mean? In life,
I think that's I think that's important as well, mate. Is like, it's you'll see with some people talk about motivation, and it's like, almost, sort of saying, every day I'm on top. I'm positive. I'm motivated. It's not true, is it? Like, we all have,
bollocks.
We all have days where, like you say, you want to go back to bed, or you're just not up for it, and the motivation's not always there every day, is it? But
no.
Do you think it's a case of just going back to the drawing board a little bit sometimes if you have a day like that?
I think maybe it's like,
or allowing yourself to have a day like that, perhaps.
Yeah, but almost like looking back and thinking what's triggered that lack of motivation. Maybe, like, run through the past week and think, well, okay, maybe I've just smashed myself for a week. That's why I'm feeling fatigued or whatever. So maybe I need to adjust there. Or have I eaten something the day before that makes me feel shit in the morning? So maybe I need to adjust that. Have I got enough sleep? So maybe it's like thinking what's triggering that lack of motivation, so you can sort of nip it in the bud before you get those days. And also when you do get those days, accepting them and thinking, okay, I feel shit or whatever, but I can still be productive in the day. I can still, read and educate myself. I can still, I don't know, do something. Yeah. I mean, don't just wallow and think, I'm not motivated to do this, but I am motivate yourself to do something else productive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I guess, like, again, naturally I will relate things back to exercise quite a lot naturally.
Yeah.
But from an exercise point of view, if you have overdone it and you're battered, maybe it's just being a bit smart and saying, well, okay, maybe going in to gym and doing that session is not the best call today, but let's go and do, 5,000 steps. Let's go and get some fresh air and have a very low intensity, low intensity days to recover. But there's still a positive. There's still a positive to come out of the day. Exactly. And that that'll carry over to to business, to work, to life.
Yeah.
You might have amazing plans with with a loved one to go out and do something amazing. You're both a bit tired. It's like, well, okay, well, let's accept that today, and do something a bit more low key, and then, as you say, learn from it,
Mm-hmm.
and make the corrections.
Yeah.
And know for next time. It's the same as anything, isn't it? When you're trying to self-improve, it's not going to happen overnight. It's it's an ongoing process, and there's going to be
And motivation isn't
some ups and downs.
Yeah, motivation comes and goes. But it's having that like underlying drive to know that you know where you're going, and like you say, the picture is really important.
Yeah.
But
So when you're having those days, just as you say, thinking back to the bigger picture. What's the what's the goal? And even if it's just taking a bit of a dip for the day, just remembering the process that you're going through.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so
don't let that day into 2 days that you can, as we say again, tomorrow or the day after.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic. No, all very good points, mate. All very good points. So, yeah, I think we've covered a good amount there, mate. Was there anything else that you wanted to sort of go through? We've covered a lot there.
Maybe like put the questions back to you. Like, what do you do to stay positive, or when you have shit days, what do you do? What's your like coping mechanism? Or have you got any tips like that?
Yeah, I think like the first thing that springs to mind, not to just repeat what you've said, but it's generally true. The bigger picture, and that's come from that's come from fitness. That's related to fitness. It's relating to the business. It's relating to not being bothered to do the flat up, or stuff like that. And again, I think that's just to agree with you, was looking at the bigger picture. It's like with the business sometimes. I'm no different to any other business owner. I think I think any business owner will tell you they've had days where they just think they want to pack it in, and you do have those odd days that catch you out, that 1,000 different things will come up that you've got to sort out, and you sort of thinking, why the hell am I doing this? And luckily the good days far outweigh the bad, but you do have those bad days. And I think what I've learned is you allow yourself that that little struggle, but you just allow it just for a little bit, whether it's a few minutes, whether it's a couple of hours. I'll often try and turn to exercise as a release from that. That's my thing. And you just go back to the bigger picture, just thinking, right, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And you think back to the times in the gym where it's where it's busy, and people are enjoying themselves and getting results, and we're doing the charity events, and we're doing the socials, and we're doing so much good. And then you're also thinking of the future and the plans that we've got for the place as well. So you have that bad day, and that's in the micro, if you like, and you think of the overall macro, think, well, this is why I'm doing it. And it's the same as anything. There's going to be a couple of hurdles, and obstacles along the way. So I think the big picture thing is big. And then when you're in that moment of stress and bad times, it's just remembering that is a moment, it's a grain of sand in the overall, the overall picture. And things are going to get better. So it's think about the overall picture, refocus back on the micro, get it done, get it done, get out of the way. And it's a problem that might take you a couple of hours or a couple of days, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not not a massive issue. So that's
Yeah.
I think seeing the big picture is, and from a rugby perspective as well, those honking pre-season sessions that definitely don't get any easier as you get older. You sort of think, there are times where you're thinking, what the hell am I doing here? What am I doing?
Mm.
But then you're thinking of you're thinking of the bigger picture again. You're thinking of match day. You're thinking of, success with your teammates and winning. And those, training's not going to be enjoyable 100% of the time. So it's looking at that big picture. So that's a big thing for me, mate. I think that's probably the first thing that pops into my head when I think about dealing with those hard times.
In terms of from a coaching perspective, how do you deal with maybe unmotivated athlete or client, or what do you think is a good way to motivate? Because it's easy just to shout there, stand there and go, come on, you can do this. But do you think there's any other way, or do you think it's obviously very variable between people because people respond differently to different motivating techniques? But for you, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think you're right. It does depend a little bit on the individual. And as a coach, you can't be something you're not. So for me, motivation through the volume of my voice, or the shouting and barking orders, and the sort of that sort of way of doing it is not for me. It's not really who I am, and to be honest with you, I'm not a massive believer that it works that well. I think there are times where we could all do with come on, like a kick up the backside, come on, sort it out, let's go. But I think
if you do it all the time, it just becomes white noise. Like people just
exactly. And I think with if we're talking about coaching exercising specifically, we talked about habits and consistency. Now, if I'm going for that approach I've just told you, just spoken about with the the shouting and the loud voice and all that sort of stuff, drop down and give me 20 type attitude, that might work for a session, and that client might, let's say, burning calories as the goal, for example. That client then might burn 500 calories rather than 300 calories in a session. So you might get a short-term win out of that approach, but you're not going to get a long-term win out of that approach, because ultimately that desire and motivation has to come a large part from within. Now, obviously, it's our job to motivate, to an extent. But the important thing is that the client has to enjoy the process, enjoy the sessions, and have that bigger picture that we spoke about to look forward to at the end. So you got the big picture, you got the goal, whether that's a 200 deadlift, whether that's losing 6 pounds, whether it's dropping a dress size or whatever. So you got that big picture, so you can refer back to that big picture. But then to get there, that's a nice vision, a nice goal, but to get there, we've got the client has got to gain motivation through enjoying the sessions. And if they're I think as humans, if we're enjoying what we're doing, then we will become consistent, and it therefore becomes a habit. So I think that's a big way in which I try and motivate people is, we'll set the goal, but then we'll make the sessions fun. We're there to work as well. We're going to work hard, but ultimately I'm trying to make it fun, make the client feel at ease, make them feel comfortable in the environment as well, so that it becomes an enjoyable experience. And if it's an enjoyable experience, then the chances are I'm going to see them again in a couple of days' time, or tomorrow, or whatever it might be. Then that builds in the habit. So, right, I'm going to the gym today. That's an enjoyable experience. I just think, and I think that helps to motivate people. So that's you know, if you're not enjoying something as humans, we don't do it. That's why I don't think you know, crash diets work, and think nobody enjoys starving themselves for 6 weeks. Like, you know, we can lose a few pounds and, you know, maybe look a bit
not sustainable, is it?
It's not sustainable, and the reason it's not sustainable is because it's not enjoyable, and therefore, because it's not enjoyable, we don't get the consistency from it. So that's a big thing for me, is you know, motivation through enjoyment, and that way I can, I'm going to have the times where I'm like they need a kick up the backside. Come on, like you know, snap out of it. Let's go. Come on, another 30 meters, another 20 meters, whatever. Let's go. You know, but you know, I'd say 80-90% of it will come from, you know, enabling the client to enjoy the process, and then I think you'll find the motivation will increase.
That goes back to what you were saying about how, you know, you can read all these self-help books and watch videos, but you've got to put in the work. So that instills in them that they've got to put in the work, and they've got to have the motivation. You know, it's all
100%, mate.
What we were saying before.
100%. You've got to meet halfway. You know.
Yeah.
You got to meet halfway, and I think that's, you know, that's so important, because as a coach, you're not going to be with that person 24/7 either. You know.
No.
You may be seeing them for an hour a week, 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, whatever it is. So there's a lot of time that they're not with you. So imagine they're lacking motivation, and then they go to a gym, which they don't really want to do, but they feel like they have to. They're getting the beasting for an hour, and then they're going back home. You know, that whole process is just not, you know, it's not a way that is gonna yield long-term results.
Yeah, that's good.
So they're probably, you know, probably the points I'd look at, to be honest. Yeah.
What do you think about like people who promote this whole, or get you in this in 6 weeks, or do this in 8 weeks, but they're not thinking of the long term? Why do you think they're so popular, and why do you think people buy into that? Is it because they just want a quick fix, or?
Yeah, I think you know, I think people like the idea of that quick fix. And again, it's almost touching upon the kind of important and essential aspect again a little bit.
Yeah.
Generally, the sort of people that appeals to is people who don't really, you know, like exercise, or, you know, they do struggle for motivation. It's like, right, okay, I can draw you in with, like, you know, 6-week body transformation, and I think the client's thinking, okay, right, this is great. It's a one-off payment. There's no long-term commitment. There's an end date. I can see the end date, so I'm not committing forever. I could just pay, and in 6 weeks I can be in incredible shape. So I think it's popular because it's a short-term fix, or it sounds like a short-term fix. Now, you know, I do know some very good coaches who promote forms of 6 or 12-week transformations, and they, you know, it's done as a bit of a marketing ploy, to be honest. You know, and those coaches do have good intentions of, you know, not just crash dieting you. You know, it's getting you through the door, and then they have got a long term plan for you. So that's okay. But, you know, there are coaches and gyms out there that will be like, right, 6-week or 8-week or 12-week transformation. Come in. You know, we're gonna drop your calories significantly. We're gonna beast you for 12 weeks. We're gonna take a photo at the start. You know, right, let's take the photo in a dull room. Just breathe out, relax. So they relax. Oh, that's nice. Let's get a little side photo. Just want you to completely relax. Let's take the picture. Right, then we go into transformation. Right, we're going to drop your calories. You're going to eat chicken and broccoli for 12 weeks. You're going to hate it, but you're going to look shredders for Ibiza, or Magaluf, Kavos. And then we do the 12 weeks, and then let's turn that light on. Let's let's get Ian's big standing light. Let's flash that down.
Get
Right,
quick
come
pump.
on. Right, come on. Yeah, exactly. Quick pump before. Right, come on. You've done well here, haven't you? Get your chest up. Show yourself. Little things like that, and all of a sudden you can look. You can look like you've had a pretty good transformation. It's amazing what not drinking water can do for you as well for a couple of days. So there we go. Rant over. You got me on a rant there, mate. You got me on a rant.
So why do you think some people are motivated and motivated to look after themselves and stuff and don't see exercise as a chore? Why do you think some people, is that just because they've developed bad habits, or is it just ingrained? Is it like what's your take on that?
Sorry, mate, did you say can you just repeat that? Sorry.
Why some really enjoy exercise, it is just part of their daily routine, and why do some people absolutely despise it and don't understand, like they know they should do it but they just hate it? Is that because they've just, like you say, not developed those good habits? Or
I think they've I think those people have probably not found a way to enjoy exercise, to be honest. I think I do think there's the argument of nature versus nurture, and I do think there is an element of nature. Some people are perhaps a little bit more motivated than others, but that's a very small part of it. Similar to yourself, not in terms of exercise. Like for me, I've always but as long as I can remember, sport, exercise. I wasn't even bothered about the gym until I was like 21, 22. But it was sport for me, and that was the thing. So exercise was never an issue for me. But from a learning perspective and a business perspective, I was always at school one of those kids, has a lot of potential, very bright, but is lazy. Whereas now, I wouldn't say I'm very bright. I've had a lot of knocks to the head in rugby, but I'm very motivated in terms of learning now because and that comes again down to my point about enjoyment. Yeah. So I think these people haven't quite found a form of movement of exercise that they enjoy, and because of that, they're not getting the drive to do it and the consistency. So again, just backtracking to myself, like with again growing, go through school, it was A star in PE. Everything else was like, pretty average grades. Then went to uni, dicked around a lot in the first year. Second to third year, realised I've got to do some work, but because it was something, because I've narrowed my field down to sport, I found my passion and what I enjoy. Yeah. The motivation was easy to find. I remember reading something from Gary Vaynerchuk, and he said, there's no such thing as laziness. It's just that person hasn't found their passion. And I think I think that's good. And as soon as I did that, and then further still, I went into a master's, which was even more specific. It was strength and conditioning. That's where, from an academic point of view, I found my passion. And all of a sudden, I was happy to read, a book a week. I was doing well on my assignments. I was passionate. I was doing the extra hours. I was
just didn't feel like work.
Putting the work. It didn't feel like work. And then, I think growing up, most people who knew me would have said, when Mark gets to adult life and working, he's gonna cruise a bit and be pretty lazy, because I could often be seen as quite laid back and not overly passionate at school and things like that. But once I started coaching, I was happy to put in the work, the extra hours, because I enjoyed it and I found a passion. And that has, from a work point of view, as my career has I'm still coaching, obviously, and I'm very passionate about it. But obviously, business has taken over a lot of my time over the last few years, and I've become very passionate about that now. So for me, an off day on a Sunday, might be reading a business book, and that's nice. So I'm actually working, but because I'm enjoying it. I'm happy to do it. Now, from an exercise point of view, as I say, I guess like my, 9 years old, if you told me to run on a treadmill for an hour, I'd probably be like, oh, this is boring. Like, I can't be bothered to do that. But my thing was sports. So if you put a ball in my hands, then I'll run around all day, whether it's rugby, basketball, cricket, football, whatever it was. And, I think I was never into, when I started going to the gym, everyone says they went from, they started doing the 310s, the bodybuilding, then they went into, strong lifts and 5x5s, all that kind of stuff. And then they went into Olympic lifting and whatever. That's a normal sort of progress. Whereas for me, like bodybuilding I was never interested. And I respect and admire, a lot of bodybuilders, and I find it fascinating, from a anatomical point of view and a physiological point of view, the shape the body can get into. But it was always performance for me. So, if you're talking about like, if someone said to me, right, we're going to get into training, we're going to do bodybuilding stuff, like it's not really a enjoyable passion for me. Whereas like when I got into strength and conditioning, I learned the value of being strong for sports and performance for sports. That's where my passion for the gym grew. So
you didn't feel like you were wasting your time. It carried over to what you were passionate about. Yeah, exactly.
And it was enjoyable. So all of a sudden, the gym became an enjoyable experience for me. And then to a point where it became, an absolute, like my main passion, and there's probably a time where it overtook my passion for rugby at a stage. Now, I think, another good example of this is some of the powerlifters we have in the gym. Having spoken to some of those guys, it's not the case for all of them, but for some of them, they weren't really into sports growing up. So therefore they didn't really exercise that much. And then when they they maybe start to go to the gym, doing a few 3x10s, doing the odd bits and pieces, and then they found the sport of powerlifting. And because that was a thoroughly enjoyable experience for them, then they had that passion, and they kept at it, and they kept the motivation, they kept the drive. So I think, and that, and now exercising in the gym is part of their life because they found that aspect of it that they enjoy. It doesn't have to be powerlifting. It doesn't have to be strength and conditioning. It can be. You might just love the gym. You might love Metcon sessions. You might love going for a run. You might love bodybuilding, whatever it is. Yeah. So I think you've got to find that aspect that you can enjoy. And if, there are going to be some people that just don't like any of those things. And for those people, I would just advise, just movement. I haven't really met too many people who don't love going out for a walk with the friends, and just for those sort of people, I would just encourage movement, just get outside,
almost like you have to
get moving.
To like disguise exercise as something else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I walk with friends. You don't think I'm going for a walk, going to meet friends.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, I think, in my opinion, it comes down to, enjoyment. If you're enjoying what you're doing, the consistency will come, and then the results will come as well. I think as a coach, sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying, as a coach, you've got to be yourself, but you've got to be adaptable as well. So, you are going to have some clients who like that kick up the backside. They like that. They love to drop a session or two a week of more high intensity training, or whatever it is. And I think you have to adapt the programming, adapt whatever it is to that person to make sure they enjoy it. If someone enjoys, we might look at something like Olympic lifting and say, oh, but it's really technical, it's this, that, you're not going to burn as many calories as you are in a Metcon session, etc., etc. And maybe that person doesn't even want to compete in Olympic lifting, but if they're enjoying it, then it makes sense to work the program around Olympic lifting, complexes and things that are fun. and then perhaps add in
Yeah.
some of the other work, but work around that concept.
Yeah. What about when it comes to doing sessions or whatever that no one's going to enjoy? How do you get people through those sort of things?
Sorry, a session that sorry,
Like, and that's just like for yourself, like you during like your rugby training and stuff, the sessions that just like are shit, no one's with them because they're hard. How do you, like, you're obviously not going to enjoy it, but how do you get through that?
Yeah, I think that's
yourself off.
Yeah, I think again that's probably where the bigger picture aspect comes into it. So if I'm doing a grueling pre-season session, and as much as I love rugby, that not all the sessions are enjoyable. And there are going to be those sessions that you don't want to be out there, but you just got to get through.
Yeah,
there are going to be those times. If it's like that all the time, obviously you wouldn't play. But there are those sessions. And again, I think the first thing I do is just look at again the big picture. Right, I know this session is going to destroy me, but it's going to benefit me in the long run. It's going to mean I can do that. Run that extra mile, hit that line, whatever it might be. So that's probably the main thing. And then I also think about the shorter term. Just think about the mental reward from getting through that session. From that session, trying to beat me up, trying to kick my ass, trying to get me down. Just the short term victory of getting through something like that. Can be massively rewarding, and doing it with your teammates as well.
Again, building that mental strength. Wow.
There's nothing. As horrible as that session is. If you're doing that, I'm just referring to this as in a team environment from my own experience. The most horrible sessions can be some of the most rewarding sometimes. If you're in that group and at the end of it you're all blowing, and you just look across and just give it the nod. You've got that. You've got through that, and you've as I say, you get that reward of satisfaction. That, do you know what? That session's tried to kill me. It's the same as getting out of a heavy squat or a deadlift or whatever. It's like that bar's tried to crush me, but I've overcome it. Yeah. And I'm stronger because of it. And that ultimately, from a physiological point of view, that stress and stimulus is going to create an adaptation that you're going to get stronger. You're going to get fitter, because that's not going to kill you. That's not going to kill you next time. You're better, than you were. So little things like that, I think, help get me through it. There's nothing worse, is there, than like just giving up.
Yeah, it's just
giving up on,
especially in a team perspective. If you're the one who gives up, like no one wants to be that guy or girl. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
No one wants to be that.
When you don't, give it your all, and and it's happened. Any athlete, would have to admit that they've had a game where they've not given it their all, and they've given up, and there's no worse feeling, and anyone who says they haven't had that sort of day is lying. That can happen in sessions, and it can happen in matches as well. I had a match last year, and psychologically I lost my way a little bit, and didn't give up, but just kind of went into my shell a little bit. And being the age I'm at, you think I'd know better, but it does still happen. And there's no and that was the one game we lost last year, and it's still it's painful to talk about now, because it's just you just gave up, like you just didn't give it your all, and it's you don't get that time back, and there's no worse feeling. There's no worse feeling. Like if you're giving your all and you've been beaten by a better team, or you've flat out couldn't complete a session or whatever, but you give it your best shot, then you can hold your head up. But when there's no worse feeling and giving up.
No. It's almost like we've got treat daily life like you're part of a team. Like you don't want to be that person to give up. Like you hold accountable. Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent, mate. Excellent. Starting to lose a bit of connection here, mate.
Oh no.
So
we wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up, mate. But that was a great chat.
Right.
That was a great chat.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much for joining us, mate. That was a really
Pleasure.
That was a really enjoyable podcast for me to be a part of, and hopefully our viewers enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will next see you probably on the gym floor when we're cleaning that bad boy and getting it ready for the members.
I'll have my marigolds on.
Good man.
Film.
Excellent. So guys, for those who haven't seen the link is still live for Ben's charity event for Mind Birmingham, the 24-hour assault bike challenge that he completed last weekend. That is on the I believe it's on the MSC Instagram page. It's on your page personally as well, Ben.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'll keep it open. I'll keep it open for another couple of weeks, just if anyone wants to donate anything.
Fantastic.
And then
good stuff, guys. Chuck a quid in, chuck a couple of quid. It all helps. And thank you very much. And we'll be back. We'll be back very shortly for a new podcast. So stay safe, guys, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
All right.
Come on, let's go, guys.